Hey guys, this is what I think about politics. Some of the headlines that I want to go over today. There's a whole bunch. Okay, so remember yesterday we were watching bombers. Bombers have been going to Venezuela across the Caribbean for days now, but we can see them on the radar, right? So bombers went out and then disappeared off radar. So they didn't want to be seen. So they're doing exercises for real, sort of, because they don't want to be seen. Now, remember, on Monday, which I don't know, by the time y'all see this video, it's 6 on Saturday. Monday is this coming Monday. The cartel organization that Maduro is allegedly the head of, which obviously he has to be, because we are declaring them a terrorist organization and they can legally Maduro on Monday. So yesterday, when these bombers disappeared, you know what? This is very unprofessional of me. I need to tell you exactly when this all happened. There was a bunch of activity yesterday, looks like. This all happened yesterday. So we blocked a Russian oil tanker on its way to Venezuela. And this thing's come a couple times. And we actually ran it off this time. It tried to approach Venezuela twice and turned back both times and remains idling in the Caribbean. Wow, that's crazy. Yes, New Worship blocks Russian tanker heading to Venezuela, triggering new tension in the Caribbean. There's plenty of tension there already.
So this is the breaking news. This isn't the actual ship itself. This is the Stockdale, but this is not the actual intercept itself. As they come up next to that Russian tanker is going to see those guns, those Sea Whiz guns trained right onto it. This blockade basically happening, blocking off the Maduro regime. And it's a big statement from the U.S. saying, hey, Russia, hey, China, you can't exert as much influence as you once did. That was a Russian tanker, and that Russian tanker makes a run for it.
Okay. Also, this thing is about to pop off, guys. Venezuela is a go. Monday is when they have legal right to ex-Maduro, and now they're flying spy planes around. So we have sanctions on them because obviously we got sanctions on them. And that guy that y'all saw just now was a Navy fighter pilot. So he knows, I think Navy or Air Force, I don't know which one, but he knows all about everything. I like his channel. I think he's Max Afterburner or something like that. But here's what he said about the spy plane that went around.
These RC-135 operators are in there just listening to every peep coming out of there. The progressive steps that I'm seeing are leading towards some sort of a surgical campaign to take down Maduro. It's a hotbed. It's turning into an insane hotbed. See these cheek sensors? Likely these are massive ASA radars. They're intelligence gathering antennas. They're highly classified sensitive systems that can collect what's called SIGINT, signals intelligence. And signals intelligence is kind of the name of the game. I mean, I would say it's probably one of the most important parts of this whole operation is knowing what you're going to be going up against. And they're just up there hoovering up as much information as possible. It's so sensitive. It's so highly classified. No one knows exactly how to get around this thing. And then you see all the different antennas on the bottom of this thing right here. That's also going to be taking in a lot of information from handheld radios, cell phones. There's no escaping this thing. That's kind of the best way for me to put it. The big picture with this thing, it is a high value asset, extremely high value asset. So it is interesting to me when you look at the layout, having the fighters way over here. I mean, that's over 100 miles away, having that much distance between this aircraft and the fighters. It wouldn't surprise me if we had some sort of F-35B escort, some stealth escort with this thing, because this is a high value asset that you cannot risk losing. Got lots of different assets, stealth assets to protect these. The potential of conflict has never been higher now, having the RC-135 in there scooping up all this information. So it's clear that the U.S. is signaling that American military reach in the Caribbean has no bounds. We can see that it basically got close, didn't cross into that airspace, so it maintained that it was illegal. And it also had a B-52 off of its wing, that B-52 Stratofortress out there with those JASSMs.
So we also had good news. The Supreme Court got a case about Texas and their gerrymandering. So they challenged the new redistricting in Texas, Congress people out of their seat. They basically put 2 Congress people out of their seat. Thank God, if you knew who they were, but we're not going to get into all that right now. And saying that because what's going on is this redistricting thing is the Democrats, they know what they're facing, I hope, because this isn't just about Texas and California. The Supreme Court has a case on the Voting Rights Act, where basically they say that Black communities are disparaged because of the racism. And at the time, I can see why a lot of these laws were enacted after the tyranny of the Democrats who kept defending slavery. I don't know if y'all know, but it was the Democrat Party that wanted slavery. They were from the South and they were called the Dixiecrats. They were on the side of the Civil War. And a lot of Democrats don't know that. I tell my friends they're Democrat. Well, I don't have too many anymore, but ones that I do come across, I tell them that and they had no idea. And they really start kind of looking into the party they've been subverted by, if you ask me. Now, Democrats, if you think about it, Donald Trump was a Democrat. Elon Musk was a Democrat. A lot of these people in this administration were Democrats. Matter of fact, it seems like the roles completely reversed to where now the Democrats are the ones on the side of big pharma and all the big companies. And now the old school Republicans are just neocons that want to go in places and overturn the leaders of the country to make it more advantage, give United States more advantage for their oil and stuff like that. Now, okay, people are claiming that we're going into Venezuela for their oil. No, we are an exporter of energy now, and we actually are getting oil from Venezuela at this moment. We're getting about 300,000 barrels because their oil is so thick that you have to refine it in a certain way. And we have refineries here in the United States that were built specifically for Venezuelan oil. And in order to keep those factories going, you have to have Venezuelan oil. And we don't take much at all. We export millions of barrels a day. So for us to be taking 300,000 barrels a day from Venezuela, we're just doing that to keep these refineries open. But we do not particularly need Venezuela's oil. This all goes back to the Monroe Doctrine. Now, the Monroe Doctrine was by the 5th president of the United States, President Monroe, and that was mostly for Europe. That was to keep Europe out of our hemisphere because they were just, people talk about colonialization and all that. They confuse United States with England nowadays because United States was acting as England recently for the past 20 years, being ran by certain people. We ran back, maybe not even 20 years, maybe ever since World War II. Matter of fact, Republican and Democrat wanted to have more, I guess, allegiant administrations in any country. Doesn't matter if it's in our hemisphere. Any country that opposed United States, they would go in there with their NGOs and with the State Department and put in CIA, and that's what this whole U.S. aid, that was just a CIA cutout. And they would have NGOs promoting American ideas. Well, lately, American ideas for the people that are in power were LGBTQ, where they had us fly a rainbow flag at every one of our embassies all over the world. There'd be an American flag and then a damn rainbow flag, dude. They were pushing it. And you know why? The same reason why they had the government shutdown. The government shutdown was about sending millions, billions, maybe billions, but definitely millions of dollars to the big pharma companies to prolong Obamacare. They had to prop up Obamacare because it makes no sense. The whole policy is backwards. And our government has to put out so much money directly to the insurance companies. Big pharma, they all go hand in hand. So they're doing the same thing that they've been doing, or they tried, so much as to where they shut down the government and caused military workers, air traffic controllers, any federal building, they didn't get paid. But Congress people still get paid, and senators still get paid. And who are we kidding? It's not like that's their main income, okay? That $100,000 ain't nothing compared to what they really want, which is the insider trading. Marjorie Taylor Greene just resigned. That's some news. What's funny is Marjorie Taylor Greene, her net worth when she joined Congress was about $150,000 a year. Guess what she's worth now? $23 million. You know how? She invested in Palantir. She made certain investments in the stock market. Just so happened she hit them right on the dime. Very successful investor all of a sudden. So she's for the people. I understand that if I was in Congress and I knew where to put my money in stocks, of course. But they're not allowed to do that. I didn't think. I mean, But I guess if it's not illegal, then they're allowed to do that. I would. Don't think you wouldn't. Of course you would. It's not like you're illegally listening. You just have the scoop. And it's not illegal. And for the shit they got to put up with, I don't blame her. But this is between her and Donald Trump. Donald Trump dissed her. And she said loyalty should go both ways. And she was there for Trump when nobody else was. So she's right. I don't agree with Donald Trump doing what he did. He should have stuck by Marjorie Taylor Greene, in my opinion. But I think there's more to it than what I was seeing. I don't know enough about it to really have too much of an opinion on it. Love Donald Trump, but he's not infallible. For him, talking about sedition is death. Yeah, we know Trump. The seditious behavior is punishable by death, man. But you should have known you were going to open up a can of worms with that one. He's crazy. Venezuela, like I said, is heating up. It's going down. So Mandami, the mayor-elect communist guy from New York. Now, I don't know if y'all remember on one of my last videos, I told you guys the strategy here. Nobody's understanding. They're saying, oh, this Trump is always kind to his enemies. He knows to keep your friends close and your enemies closer. He's brilliant at that.
We had discussions on something. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
But what I don't know if he gets what they're doing here. I told you guys, I think they're trying to normalize socialism by this guy saying he's a socialist and coming in and doing a good job. That's what we got to watch out for, guys. That's what we got to watch out for. They will, you know how these people do. They will normalize things that are not normal. And they're doing that with socialism, so that when the real socialists come, then you won't know. You'll be like, oh, well, the last socialist wasn't that bad. Be aware, these people, all they do is lie. They were like, oh, man, Dami, you know, him and Trump get along. Man, Dami is a liar. Every campaign promise he said was a lie. I don't think Trump's too worried about his crazy policies because he knows he can't enact them. We all know he can't enact that shit he was talking about. He's a liar. So him going in there and talking to Trump and saying Trump was with this and they can work together, it's a lie, okay? And Trump's not stupid. And when you kill your enemies with kindness, it just does so much more damage. The Bible says being kind to your enemies is like burning coals on their forehead. They hate it. What else we got in the news? Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell is running for governor in the state of California. So you know what that tells me? That tells me that Newsom is convinced he's going to be the president. So what happens when JD beats Newsom and then he gave up his run as a governor? What's he going to do? He is going to look at this election for the president between life and death, because if he doesn't make the presidency, he's not going to have any type of power. So he's going to fight hard for it. They have Sharia courts in Texas. Did y'all know this? Okay. What Trump just did is hold on, let me see what it says. Somali gangs are terrorizing the people. Yes, there was a guy that went to protest, I think it was last night, and was attacked bad because he's protesting the call to prayer that they have. He was just, I think he was, saying that, they haven't assimilated. He was causing a ruck, but he was going crazy with it. But he still shouldn't be attacked like that. Temporary Protective Status, TPS program. It started in 1991. I did not know that. 17 countries are eligible, but the Trump administration has announced it's terminating TPS for several, including Venezuela and Nicaragua. There are only 705 Somali-born individuals nationwide who have TPS status, according to a report by the nonpartisan Congressional Research Service. I'm sure they're nonpartisan, like everything, right? And they may be citizens, but why? Did they marry their brother? This guy, Abshir Omar, a political strategist who endorsed Trump. BS, Reuters. I don't believe anything from these news people. He said that this could harm our relationship with Somalia. What relationship with Somalia? If we do have one, we don't need it. Get rid of it. We don't want a relationship with Somalia.